What's going on, workforce? Brian here.
Chris here.
And today we're talking about PvP and really the sorry state that is matchmaking within the Feast. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right in. Chris and I have been having a lot of conversations offline about PvP and the Feast. So, we've talked a little bit about that with you guys, but just to rehash it.
It's a big part of... So, my brothers are not big PvE players.
Right.
They've just gotten to the point where the amount of time they have to spend on games, they really prefer to spend on the type of games they like, and they like the competitive nature of gaming. They like games that you can rank, and they don't have to win, but they do have to know that somebody wins. And so that makes something like leveling up a character to 70 to go into PvE content very hard to enjoy, because you would have to get them almost on like a competitive, like a progression raid schedule to get that same sense of accomplishment.
Right.
And they're not ready to invest that in this game in particular. So we said, you know what, with Stormblood, Brian and I will buy your copies of Stormblood.
And we did.
And you guys pay your monthlies to join us on PvP, because we wanted a 4-man, and they're really fun to play with.
Yeah.
So we bought their copies. They paid their monthly, and then at 4.0, 4-man wasn't launched.
Right.
And we said, you know what? It's going to take some time to level up anyway. It's going to take some time to get used to the new PvP system. Why don't we just do frontlines, and then when 4.1 drops. No, when 4.05
when
drops,
the new season.
When the season starts.
Whenever the new season of the Feast with 4-mans drop, we're going to dive into that.
Then we'll dive in and we'll be all ready. And then the first season starts, and they said...
No 4-mans.
No 4-mans.
And then, so... Okay. That took the wind of our sails, and if you're now, as this is the first introduction to us, you're seeing it, you're caught up. So... Okay, well, we're playing frontlines, and that's fun. And I'm not knocking frontlines, but I'm knocking the fact that they don't have this, and they only have solo. So what do? I'm like, well, I'm interested. I really want to see how I can do with the new system in 4v4. I queue up. It says 10 minutes for solo queue. Queue up as a tank, queue up as a healer.
It doesn't seem to matter.
During prime time, didn't seem to matter. I'm like, I'm questioning, should I queue up as a DPS?
Why is this taking? There's no adventure need. There's no
Why is this taking so long? And so, okay, queue up solo, only option, 10 minutes. 10 minutes go by, updates to 15 minutes, eventually get into a match and win. And I go, there is no way I am going to even be able to do anything in this season if it's at a 10 to 15 minute wait time per match, only to get 25 points if I win per match. I'm going to have to literally be on all the time, because there's also no penalty if I'm not on. I'm not de-ranking over any period of time.
Right.
So all it took was somebody to get far enough in the lead, and then they can just walk away.
So the first week, for some reason, there was a 5-minute wait time, and they had 10 hours to play, I cannot catch them, because now it's 25-minute wait times?
So it's long. And then, so what happens? I get de-incentivized to go in and participate in the content, which makes it longer for other people. Longer. Yeah, it's like I'm also a part of the same problem that I'm espousing here. And that is in and of itself one of the big frustrating things. Why is it so long? And so I posted up on the forums, and I'd love 4-mans, but in and of itself, at its core, there is something wrong with this system, with this matching, with the fact that the only ranked is solo 4-mans, that there's really no way of participating. There's no, I tried to do even an 8v8 one day, and the match time was long, because it's like people are easily seeing that the fastest way from an experience, the fastest way to participate in PvP is being funneled into frontlines. And so there's no, they need more options. They need the ability to kind of lessen restrictions, because they did that. Frontlines used to have the worst queue time, so we stopped doing it because it just took forever. Now, because they've removed so many restrictions on Grand Company and all that, and the fact that you can change your role when you get in, it kind of opens it up for a lot of things. So I think that the fact that they've really tried to lock down PvP 4-man into such solid, where you have to have tank, healer, ranged, and melee,
which physical is fine, but then I should be able to queue as multiple classes.
Yes, exactly.
And then you tell me what I'm playing. So I like playing red mage in PvP.
Yeah.
I like playing white mage in PvP.
Right.
And I'm interested in dark knight in PvP.
Right.
Why can I not queue as all three? Even if you limit me to one per role, and then it puts a group together and says,
"Oh, here you go."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now if behind the scenes they want to have an MMR where it says, yes, Brian is publicly rated at X, but when he plays tank, he usually doesn't perform quite as well as his normal, but when he plays healer, he performs slightly above. If they want to kind of have an MMR assigned to each class so that they can better balance, but there is no balance available if you've only got 4 people. They have to put you against the only 4 they have. And so when we played, pre 4.0, we would play the same team over and over and over. And so if they beat us in the first game, they beat us in the second game. And if they beat us in the second game, they'd beat us in the third. And finally, we would change up our strategy enough that it would get close. And then that was just them getting lax. The next game, they would just slam us.
Yeah.
And from the other side of that, if we were winning, it didn't seem to matter what we did. We were just going to crush that team all night.
All night long. And that's kind of the thing. It's like the ranking, the matchmaking in and of itself is really struggling. And I can take this over easily into frontlines, right? Because right now, if you're going to queue for frontlines, you're going to queue for Shatter. It's typically the most fun. It's got more stats than even the first version of it. And really, they've got multiple maps and they got multiple game types. They just need to make it frontlines. And either one of two things. Either it be on a weekly, like every week there's a bonus or there's a reward, and this week you're playing Shatter on one of the 3 or hopefully more maps to come to where you're playing this game type.
And you have to set a reward so that people won't just take the week off.
Right. Yeah, it's okay, this week, or, so outside of chat, like either it's, or every time you just queue to frontlines, it's going to say, and you're playing this game type with this
and there's a lever penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
Or people will filter it.
And then always the ability to do custom. So people could always say, I really want to play a custom match, and then I'm going to organize 72 people, and we're going to do this. Right. Yeah. I just giving people the option, and I'm always for that. But we should also, in 4.1, see a new PvP type. So now, in and of itself, more than ever, they need to make sure they're really figuring this out.
Because if it's good, everybody will move to that, and then we won't even see Shatter anymore. And if it's
Shatter.
Bad, we'll never see it.
Right. It's like, all right,
if you don't play it the first week, you'll never see it.
You'll never see it. And that's all. That was how Frontlines was until they fixed a lot of the issues. So hopefully they've, through learning and through trial and error, they've really kind of figured out how they need to launch new content for us. But this brings me to the penultimate point. On the forums, Square Enix did a post talking about PvP, and there's a couple things in here that just really stood out to me, and it could be taken either way. And my style, who I am, usually leans on the positive side. I'm more optimistic, and that is good. But at the end of the day, if it's mistranslated, this could only serve to just really upset me because I expected something and I didn't get it. So they say, we plan to introduce cross-server custom PvP matches in 4.1. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. That's great. I like the fact that we can do custom games now, but it's really hard to kind of figure it out. There's a lot of quality of life stuff that they need.
Sure.
Because what they need is I just need to say, I'm going to create a custom game, and then people can see that, and they can join, and then we can balance the teams and the roles, or whatever. You just balance the teams.
Yeah. I need Halo, and we don't need to ever leave the match. It needs to send us into like a post-match where we're all standing in a shared room. And it does a little countdown, and we can do whatever. Yeah. And we can leave. It's okay, I'm going to leave. But it's like... And then run into separate little zones. There's like a blue zone and a red zone, and as soon as there's 4 people in each zone... Beep. Bing, off we go.
There we go. So there's definitely some quality of life that can be improved with that. But the fact that they're bringing in cross-server, this is great because that's going to play, I think, even more. Because now you can kind of advertise that.
Sure.
Hey, Party Finder, custom PvP, join in, let's have some fun. Okay, cool. Then this is going to allow players to host their own PvP events and tournaments, cool, with players on their data center. It would be great if we could open it up beyond data center, but I understand that limitation. As well as practice. The Feast 4v4 matches with multiple team compositions before jumping into ranked play. Okay, so this is the biggest thing. I interpret this as why? Why do we need to practice as a 4-man team when you can't do it ever?
As a 4-man team.
Right. So practicing in my mind is like it's pointless because I'm glad I know how to play Red Mage. These 3 other teams don't know. And that's what we're going to lose. Because practice implies team composition.
Yeah, we have standard markings, we have standard call-outs, we have standard... But none of that matters because I'm not in voice chat with them.
If we were a music band and we're going to practice, but we'll never perform together. We're always going to perform with other bands.
We should practice solo.
Yeah, you should just practice solo.
Or get out there and just start playing gigs.
Yeah, exactly.
This is it's just silly at this point, and they need to, if you want to make it super aggressively competitive, one of the things about Final Fantasy XIV is they are very anti that. The kind of aggressive get out or get good, that things like damage meters, things like the way they handle themselves on forums, the way they handle themselves with the way they set up servers, the way they set up classes, leveling. This game is designed to cater to people that are not that, which sometimes make those people get bored and they move on. Right? So then you can't have a hyper-competitive PvP system pop up out of thin air because you have an entire player base of people who are okay with there not being damage meters in-game. They're okay with the game not being aggressively competitive in every single patch cycle. They don't quit just because one round of Savage was too easy. And actually, they do whine a lot if it's too hard. So, and I'm not saying there are not hardcore, very talented, very, very perfectly executing players on this game, but they're not as aggressive as they are on other games. They're not to the point where it's minus DKP. I just don't see that culture popping up here. And that's a lot of what makes me like the Final Fantasy XIV community, is that in general, when you're out in public, when you're in roulettes, you're not experiencing that. And then if you do, it's because you seeked it out. It's not just getting shoved down your throat.
And if you do experience it, it is also very, wow, there is that kind of that surprise.
I got with this guy that got really mad if I made one mistake.
Well, not even that. It's weird. We didn't, we cleared the dungeon in 20 minutes and not 19 minutes.
Yeah.
We're horrible players. We're the worst.
You just don't see that. So,
and I've run into that, but it's so rare that it just makes it stand itself out.
If you want to foster that competitiveness, then you have to start giving me ranking boards. Rewards like unique mounts for placing at the top. And by the very nature of that, you can't just have people push to the top and then stop playing, so now I can't get their points from them. So you have to have things like, if you play 5 games in a week, you lose 1% of your ranking, and if you play less than 5 games, you actually lose 3%. That way there's kind of a decay, so you're constantly having to replace the points.
The fact that they don't decay is, again, it's just something
I got to...
And there's no incentive for... It's only at their disadvantage to queue up, because the only... I'm
in the top 10. What am I going to do?
The only option is to go down, because they're not going down automatically.
And they can't catch me because they can't find games, because the people who don't like this already moved on, and those of us that are at the top aren't playing.
Thanks. I'll take my rewards. But, and so that's in and of itself was just that they need to fix it. And then the idea then just stems into, well, why not introduce some of these concepts into Frontlines? Why not introduce some of these, like the ability to rank and see how you can have seasons in Frontlines where it's less restrictive, so that there is that sense of competition on who's won the most frontline matches this week, who's won the most frontline matches this season, and where you rank, and you get a certain score, and you can have something next to your name, and so it could be different. But I'm just saying that I like that idea. I like the competition aspect. I like competition. I think it's
damage to players, damage to ice, damage to... all that stuff can factor in.
Lifetime stats, just all kinds of really cool things. There's a lot the game can do and really improve
upon.
Badges,
glamour, titles, mounts, always mounts.
Always mounts. If I can see it, I should write it.
Write it.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, back to the post, though, is that they're talking about this, saying that you can practice. And so I go, it makes me go, and I asked this on the phone, are they bringing it back?
Are they practicing?
Why practicing? This implies the Feast 4v4 matches with multiple team compositions before jumping into rank play. Okay.
You don't get a whole team together to go rent and book a baseball field to practice as a team for a home run derby.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You can just all split up and go to your own batting cages.
Yeah. So I asked, and hopefully we'll see, that it's does this mean they're bringing back teams? Can we play as teams? Are they going to bring it back?
And if so, is it flat 4s? Is it flat 8s? What are they bringing back? Because I like when games do 1s, 2s, 4s, 8s. Because it's a different meta. Because this game is balanced so heavily around PvE that the PvP will never be perfectly balanced.
Right.
And so what that means is that for a particular patch cycle, there is a best 2-man composition. And so the way around that, if you want to really be aggressive and be at the top, is... well, you can either play those classes, which is very easy in this game, easier than most, or Well, we focus on 4s.
Yeah.
We focus on 8s.
So anyway, that's it. That's my frustration currently. That's my hope currently. That's my confusion as it wraps up to this forum post. I'd love to know your thoughts on this topic. Even if you're not a PvPer, like, obviously this impacts us. If people are choosing to do one content, things ebb and flow and they come and go. But, like Chris said, like, there's so much quality of life that they could bring in that could really alleviate this frustration. A venture in need would be huge in PvP rank. Like, what are you looking for? I'll play that.
I don't even need a reward for it. I just need you to tell me.
The reward is I get a match
faster,
and I don't have to sit here and wait. And then more people get to play and have a better experience, hopefully. Otherwise, like, oh, you need a machinist. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, just tell me what you need. I'm here to help you. I have all my classes above 30.
Yeah.
Let's play. And I think it's such a stark contrast because it's the only part of Stormblood that I'm really disappointed in.
Yeah, exactly. I love the gameplay. Like, I think they really nailed it.
And I think that makes it even more frustrating.
Yeah.
They built this beautiful new way to play, and then they're like, but you can't do it.
And from a balance perspective, from just
I'm intrigued.
Oh, it's so
I've enjoyed
good.
every 4-man and every 8-man match I've done. I've just had to wait so long, and I can only fish so much.
I know. All right.
Let us know what you think.
Anyway, that wraps us up for this video today. Thanks so much for watching this video. My name is Brian.
My name's Chris.
And this is Work to Game. We hope to see you in our next video, but until then, we hope you have a fantastic week.
Thanks for watching. YouTube has a pretty cool video waiting for you over here. Our latest vlog is down below. For those of you new, subscribe is over here. And all of our other contact info is just right below me here. Thanks for watching.